Hello, everyone. Time to make another video here, excuse me, basically talking about workplace stress and how it works, some of the things that happen, and what methods of gauging your level of stress are effective, what methods are not, and how to hopefully stay immune to the whole thing as far as the bad stress goes, anyway. So let's get started. When it comes to detecting stress, if you're like me, you've seen an awful lot of methods over time as to how to detect stress. Some you see online, some you find on the internet, others even in social media and things like that, ways to detect stress. And a lot of them rely on what is called the survey approach. Now, the survey approach is a very ineffective approach, just surveying people and asking them, are you stressed or not? Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5 or a scale of 1 to 10, describe your stress when it comes to this facet or that facet, and so on. This honestly is a pretty ineffective approach because, quite simply put, people can make themselves look any way they want to. They can look totally stressed, or they could turn around and look totally stress free, depending upon what they want to do. There have been some other methods that have come along which do a little bit better job of gauging your stress. For example, there is what is called the social readjustment and rating scale. Now, this is a bit older system, but it really is a good system because it is not a survey approach. Instead of just asking you, are you stressed, yes or no, this thing would focus on life events, okay? What is going on in your life? And some things that are in this big long list are very distressing. Some things are positive things that are on this social readjustment and rating scale list. And simply put, based on the list, you look at the life events and a numerical value is addressed. You can go back, usually 6 months in your life. And by that, I mean you would look at this list and turn around and see what has happened to you in the last 6 months. And if these things have happened to you, you write down the scores. Okay. The whole idea of the social readjustment and rating scale is to determine the probability that you might suffer from an illness brought on by stress. That is what is meant by a psychosomatic illness. I didn't say disorder, illness, okay? Stress induced illness is what that basically means. PSYCHO, okay? That means mind. Soma or somatic means illness. So psychosomatic is an illness brought on by the mind. For the most part, we estimate, as I think I said in an earlier video, about 50% of the visits to see the doctor for things such as cold, flu, hypertension, and whatnot are brought on by stress in that regard. Okay? Now, this SRRS is pretty interesting since it looks at life events. It is met with some criticism, though. To look at it and realize that some of the life events have certain scores that people will disagree with. Some turn around and people argue that 6 months going back in your life is too little or too much. Uh, some people argue that the SRRS doesn't look at things related to college students. It just looks at people who are working full time and stuff like that. To address that last point, there is what is called the College Undergraduate Stress Scale. It does pretty much the exact same thing as the SRRS. It looks at life events, and you can go back 6 months or a year, add up all the things that have happened to you in that time frame, and then turn around basically and determine the chance of getting a stress related illness if you so want. But these are two very fascinating methods and definitely worth trying if you have the chance to fill them out. Now, when it comes to vulnerability to stress, some people struggle with it more than others. Some people, their mentality, and you're going to find here in a moment, their personality can have an influence on how well they handle stress or don't. I want to introduce to you, in a sense here, Dr. Meyer Friedman and Dr. Ray Rosenman. Both of these gentlemen are not psychologists. They are cardiologists. And what these two have done a long time ago was to try and determine why people were ending up suffering from heart disease. what characteristics did they have that caused them to have heart problems and end up in their office? Yes, a lot of them had a problem with weight, and a lot of them had a problem with smoking, but they actually had a lot of people who came to their office with chest pains and heart issues who were not overweight and didn't smoke. And Doctors Friedman and Roseman, in doing their initial studies, realized there's something else. It was these two gentlemen that came up with the term type A and type B personalities. And what this basically means is that your personality can influence the probability of getting sick due to stress. Now, just to clarify each of these, a type A personality is someone who is very high strung. They're constantly on the go. They're very busy people. They talk fast, they walk fast, they eat fast. They have a lot of trouble saying no to individuals. Okay, they may be all worn out from a busy week, and it's Friday afternoon, and they're looking forward to a quiet weekend. And someone comes along and says, "Hey, can you help me move on Saturday? I need some help. Can you bring your truck? It'll only be an hour or two." You know, deep in your heart, it's probably going to be the whole day. Type A's, instead of saying, "No, I'm sorry, I'm just too stressed out," are the type of individuals who will turn around and say, "Yeah, okay, I'll be there." And they'll do it. They have trouble saying no. They take on a lot of stuff, and they're much more susceptible to stress-related illnesses. Okay. Then there's almost the exact opposite, which is a type B. Type B personalities are individuals who are much less susceptible to stress-related illnesses. They walk slower, they talk slower, they eat slower, they can leave things undone. If it's Friday afternoon and they're about an hour from finishing a project and it's 4:59 and you usually shut down at 5 p.m., a type B will just leave it for Monday morning, assuming there's no deadline. A type A will stay and get it done, but type B isn't worried. Type A's, here's an extra. If they have an appointment at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they may rush to get there and end up arriving 20 minutes early. A type B, if they have a 1 o'clock appointment, they may get there at 12:55 or 12:58 or even 12:59. They're not worried. I made it. I'm here. So there's a difference in personalities. Type Bs are much less susceptible to stress-related illnesses, and type As are much more susceptible. Okay. There's also a category called type AB. Type AB personalities are people that have characteristics of both. They are both type A and type B. They sort of fall down the middle. And the truth of the matter is, there aren't a lot of people that are like this. There are not a lot of people who are type AB personalities. Most of the time, if you ask someone what are they really like, who's going to speak up and claim they're type AB? A type A or type B? And if you guess type A, you're right. Type A's a lot of times will try to convince you, well, I'm really AB. I can calm down whenever I want. And yet in reality, they don't always do that. Okay. If you're thinking to yourself that you're type A, based on the description I just gave you, and that you're doomed to a life of ill health, don't give up hope just yet. Okay. Introduce you to a woman. Name is Dr. Suzanne Kobasaw. Dr. Kobasaw has made a career of studying people with certain personality types and has found that a lot of successful men and women are very much a strong type A personality. Okay? Well, Dr. Kobasaw has come up with a new category that she calls type H. Okay? Hardiness. Hardiness. This is sort of a subcategory in essence. Hardy personalities. A type A can be a hardy personality, so can a type B. A hardy personality is someone that is much less susceptible to stress-related illnesses. So these type H hardy personalities, okay, you could be type A in nature, but if you're a hardy type A, you don't have to worry. What are these hardy personalities like? Well, a lot of times these people feel like they are in control of their lives. They know what they want and they're doing it. They are in control of their lives, as opposed to feeling like they're out of control, like someone else judges them. No, they run their life. If things go good, it's because of them. If things go bad, it's because of them. All right? They don't believe in fate, they don't believe in luck, and it shows in how they run their lives. They are in control. Okay? If you find yourself believing in fate and luck, then chances are you don't have a high control score on a hardiness scale. A lot of hardy personalities also are very committed. And by that I mean they know what they want and they go for it. They don't second guess themselves. They don't question themselves constantly. All right. I know people in my career, in my lifetime, that have worked towards a career and they get to the very end of their training and certification and education and they stop. Even people working on doctorates have gotten all the way to that final dissertation research report and they just never finish it because they doubt themselves. They're not committed to it. Okay? People who are committed know what they want and they go after it. Even if you find out later you were wrong, at least, that's okay, but at least you finished and followed through with it. And then finally, these type of people see things as a challenge as opposed to a burden. Okay? Something comes along out of the ordinary, especially if people don't believe they can do it, they believe they can do it, and they tend to see it as a challenge, and they like challenges, and they go after challenges. That says a lot about their personality. All right. So these three components, commitment, control, and challenge. Basically, if a type A personality has these things, then they can remain type A and not necessarily get sick. That's how a lot of this works. All right, folks, that's enough for now. Hope that helps.